I've had a number of people tell me that there were very specific conditions and very specific warnings that you gave personally to the Taliban. Joe Biden is trying to blame you. I want first to give you an opportunity to respond to that, your assessment of what's going on, and what was that conversation to the extent you feel you're able to share it with us.
It's good to be with you, Sean, but it's a terrible time for our country. I don't think in all of the years our country has ever been so humiliated. I don't know, would you call it a military defeat or a psychological defeat? There's never been anything like what's happened here. I spoke on numerous occasions to the head of the Taliban, and we had a very strong conversation. I told him up front, I said, look, before we start, let me just tell you right now that if anything bad happens to Americans or anybody else, or if you ever come over to our land, we will hit you with a force that no country has ever been hit with before. A force so great that you won't even believe it. And your village, and we know where it is, and I named it, will be the first one.
Mr.
The first
President, I want to interrupt.
Dropped right there.
You said this to who?
To Mullah Baradar.
The Mullah Baradar, who he got out of Pakistani prison.
I had a very, very strong talk with the Taliban, which I consider to be much more important in this sense because they were the problem. And they've been there for a long time, and they're good fighters, and they fight hard. And after I said that, we had a pretty good conversation. Now, I have to tell you that if you remember when they were coming to Washington to meet with me, they decided to kill an American soldier because they thought that was a good way to negotiate. And I canceled the trip. But to spend that kind of money and then to have people get on shows and say how inexpensive it was. And I have to tell you also that we lost no soldiers in the last year and a half because of me and because of the understanding that we had. In Chicago and in New York and in other cities in the United States, many people die every weekend.
Also under your watch, though. It's not a massive cap. He's right. There's a reason why they say Chirac, but you're fucking the president of America. So kind of weird that you're bringing that up.
But I believe it was the worst decision in the history of our country when we decided to go into the Middle East. It's turned out to be quicksand. We've destroyed the Middle East. Do you think it's better now than it was 20, 21 years ago? It's much worse. It was a horrible decision, cost us trillions of dollars. And if you look at both sides, because I like to look at both sides, millions and millions of lives. It's no different than it was. It's much worse because you have to rebuild it. It's been blown to pieces. The worst decision ever made was going, you can do a strike as retribution, and it could be a big strike as retribution for the World Trade Center, etc.
Bro, he literally dropped a Moab, the mother of all bombs, in Afghanistan, like as one of the first things that he did for literally no reason, like absolutely zero reason, dude. I do find it really funny though that like whenever Trump is spitting, he's fucking spitting. Like, he's right. Like everything he's saying from, you know, fighting, going into Afghanistan was one of the worst foreign policy mishaps of all time. Like, he's right.
And the Taliban, good fighters, I will tell you, they're good fighters. We have to give them credit for that. They've been fighting for 1,000 years. That's what they do, is they fight. The Taliban has circled the airport.
Yo, I wish I was a Republican, dude. Straight up. Like, you get away with everything when you're a Republican. Like, everything. Like, my man said, the Taliban are fucking great fighters, dude. Can you imagine any leftist that says that? Immediately, like, wow, I can't believe this person, like, unironically loves the Taliban. Why are you defending the Taliban? You love Taliban. Like, can you imagine as Chatter pointed out, like, an Ilhan Omar take like that? Imagine Obama saying that. Liberal media fucking ripped Bernie a new asshole for saying that, like, the Cuba literacy programs were, like, good and shit like that, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, Donald Trump is literally like, the Taliban, they're fucking based. They're based. It's a Maoist revolution. I love it. Let me tell you, that guy Mao, he has some good ideas. Wrote a lot of poetry. You ever read his poetry? Very good. The People's Revolution, they're revolting. You have nothing to lose but your chains, I said. And like Republicans are like, yeah, brother. I fucking love that, brother. That's so good. Why do Americans scrutinize Democrats more than Republicans? Because Republicans own patriotism. Mao, he was a deal maker. If you say racist shit, you can get away with it, bro. LMAO. Yeah, I mean, as long as you accompany it by being like, they're dogs, they're animals, they're animals. Our military members, they're so hot. They're so fucking hot. I would have sucked their cocks. Then you can say whatever you want. You know what I mean?
Frankly, if they were smart, they'd really, and they are smart, they should let the Americans out.
The Taliban, they're so smart. I love them. They're so smart. They're so handsome. You see what they're doing? They put on that eyeliner. They call it guy liner. I like it. People are saying it's good to get the sweat out of their eye. That's why they're such good shots. They're crack shots. Our soldiers, they're losers. They're losers. Some of the generals, they're handsome, but they don't have guy liner. Believe me. That's why I said to our handsome generals, I told them, you look like you're out of central casting. Come here. I told them, use guy liner in the U.S. military. Believe me. And the generals said no.
When Joe Biden told the country that he trusted that the Afghan military was so far superior and they were over 300,000 strong and they had an air force and we wouldn't see what happened in Saigon, he couldn't have been more wrong.
Someone should ask Donald Trump why he didn't facilitate the troop withdrawal in the 4 years of his fucking presidency if he was going to do it better. If liberal media treated Donald Trump evenly in the same way that they do like anyone who goes against war, which will never happen, they would unironically be like, don't you feel like you are responsible for the death and destruction that befalls upon the Afghan citizens by not taking decisive and quick action and leaving it to the next administration, which you did everything in your power to undermine in the transition because you were too busy doing a fucking tour, a world tour about how you actually hadn't lost the election, driving up your own support for an insurrectionist movement that ultimately led to the January 6th Capitol riots?
Under your plan, if they had taken over 5%, not 60, like they had last, 5% that was not in your agreement, what would have happened to them?
We would have hit them very hard. Again, the words are conditions, plural, conditions based. It was an agreement where actually we wanted to get out by May 1st, and they violated the agreement, so we didn't. It's a great agreement from a lot of different standpoints. And frankly, Biden didn't have to even go by that agreement. He could have done. Look what he's done to the border. We had the greatest border, southern border.
Once again, literally admitting that Biden is just following the terms of the agreement that he put together. Sorry.
But the agreement was violated, so I held things back because we weren't going to do anything, again, conditions based.
He's literally admitting that, like, he didn't follow the terms of his own agreement, making it more complicated to do a full withdrawal in the immediate first month of the Biden presidency. Like, he's basically just saying he held things back, which I see as, like, an admission that he was still fucking it up. He said the Taliban violated the agreement. I understand that. Except he then said that he pushed back the evacuation. Like, he personally pushed back on the evacuation of military personnel, implying that he himself also took actions that would have stopped the actual conditional agreement from being executed, literally all the way to the end of said agreement, which was going to be dealt with on, I think it was May 1st, right? Jason Allen, you are correct. Trump did do the same thing in Syria, but the Republicans loved it then. But also, there's a government in Syria, so that's a major difference. Whereas the puppet government that we had installed in Afghanistan, that was not real. Like, I'm not a fucking, Lion of Syria fan myself. But ultimately, the reality is that he still does have a government and a military. Remember when he said he told their leader that they'd destroy them if any of their men were killed? And then when they did that, he didn't do that? Yeah, of course, because it's a fucking lie. Do you think he intentionally dumped it on Biden, knowing it would be a PR disaster? No, I think he's like, this is like one of those areas where he is a bit of an outsider. And so he knows, he's like so good. He's got such a keen eye for like recognizing what American people want. And he noticed that this was an unpopular war and it was just like fucking killing kids and not Afghan kids, of course. He didn't give a fuck about that. They're brown. Who gives a shit? He 100% was like, Americans don't want this anymore. You know what I mean? And we can use our resources elsewhere. You know, we can go fucking fight in Africa. You know what I mean? All these other places. He most likely thought that he was going to be the president when the pullout was happening. And I personally believe he wouldn't have pulled out. He thought he was still going to be president and he most likely was not going to pull out in the end. Because he is a lot more susceptible to pressure than, for some weird reason, like Biden was. Biden basically recognized that, the public wanted this. Now, attitudes are changing because the media is like pumping a steady diet of misinformation. But I think like Biden has an opportunity to fucking say that, this is what was necessary. It was always going to be a fuck up. I'm going to be an adult about it and I'm taking responsibility, even though it's not entirely my responsibility. I was an opponent, sorry, of the troop surge under the Obama administration when I was fucking vice president, which is true. He wanted to send in still a surge, but not 100,000, less troops, but still. It was a fuck up in 2001. It was a fuck up when I was vice president, and it's still a fuck up. And I had to do the right thing by the Afghan civilians and the right thing by our American soldiers. Your Democrat is coming out? Wait, what? How is that your Democrat is coming out? I literally just said it was a massive policy failure and a fuck up that was devastating, including the fucking troop surge under the Obama administration when he was the vice president. You think Democrats actually fucking think that? What are you, silly? Democrats think Obama has never done anything wrong except like wear a fucking tan suit.
I said, why are they fighting? Why are these Afghan soldiers fighting against the Taliban? And I was told some very bad information by a lot of different people. The fact is, they're among the highest paid soldiers in the world. They were doing it for a paycheck because once we left, they stopped fighting. So all of the people that talk about the bravery and everything, I say everybody's brave. But the fact is, our country was paying the Afghan soldiers a fortune. So we were sort of bribing them to fight.
No, he's not wrong. Okay, here's what the issue is, guys. He's not wrong. He's completely correct. The problem is the actual end point he arrives at. The premises are correct. It's just that he arrives at the wrong conclusion. The conclusion is that Afghans are cowards and they're only mercenaries. The real conclusion is that they just didn't want to fucking fight the Taliban for an occupying force. You see what I'm saying? And they were going to continue getting money as much as they can, but the real reason was like they want stability. They don't want fucking endless war. He also did say that they were brave, including the Afghan National Security and the Taliban. He literally said the Taliban are fucking incredible fighters. They're highly paid. The Afghan security forces? No, they're not highly paid. The Taliban were like unironically better paid than the Taliban is actually a very well-paid, well-oiled machine. They get a fuckload of Wahhabist funding.
What would you advise? What would you do if you were put into this situation right now and dropped in and you were to take over? What is the answer? Because we don't know where they are. Joe's been on vacation. I just heard that apparently he landed back at the White House. Nice of him to return.
You're talking to Donald Trump, dude. He literally is the record holder for most vacations. What do you mean? Like, not to be too much of a lib, but Donald Trump literally holds the record for most like off days, golf days out of any president. Not a single president will ever reach his number. He did break that in like the first year too. That's so funny. They're like, I can't believe Joe Biden is on vacation. Which, by the way, why is he on vacation? That's actually a correct take there. He should not be on fucking vacation when you know that like your troops are withdrawing. But the real reason why Joe Biden is on vacation when the troops are withdrawing is because he's not actually on vacation. He's in a fucking vat, okay? He's in a vat, and he's strapped up to a bunch of fucking, fluid pumping machines that is directly pumping adrenochrome into his goddamn old-ass, brittle-boned body so that he can at least go on stage and like, yeah, Jack Malarkey for like 3.5 minutes, okay? That's the real reason why he's not on scene and on call 24/7 during this fucking troubling time.
So when they say, oh, he talked to the Taliban, you remember they were criticizing me. They criticized me when I talked to Kim Jong-un. Well, President Biden told me it's the single biggest problem we have. I said, have you ever called him? Have you ever talked to him? No, I haven't. He did try, but it was not receptive on the other side. But it was receptive with me. Now, we were supposed to have a war and probably a very big nuclear war. I get along with him great, and I got along with him great. He doesn't like Biden much, I'll tell you that. And we had no problems. You remember that. We were virtually, remember the big button versus the little button and the whole thing. By the way, South Korea, I got them to pay billions of dollars, billions. We're protecting South Korea. They're very wealthy. They built the ships. They built the televisions. They do everything. They're very rich. They were paying us nothing. I got them to pay billions and billions of dollars because we're protecting them from North Korea. And I had a very good relationship with President Moon and all of the people in South Korea. In fact, they liked me and I liked them. But I said, why are we doing this for nothing?
He's so good, dude. I think the liberal consultants that don't let Joe Biden go off book like this are doing such a disservice to him. They actually are. Because, like, he's so funny, dude. Like, he's insane, dude. He's literally insane. He's like, they had so much money. Look at their TVs. LG. They got cars. They got TVs. They have so much money. I mean, he's like, he is the definition of old man yells at cloud, but he does it in such an entertaining way.
I extracted billions and billions of dollars out of China. Never happened. We never got 10 cents from China. Billions and billions. They were so happy to see a rigged election. They might have helped it along, actually.
My man's still saying rigged election, dude. You got to respect it. He is high off that copium, dude. I mean, he is so high off that fucking copium, dude.
Biden put us in this position. He should have gotten the civilians out first. Then he should have taken the military equipment. We have billions of dollars of brand new, beautiful equipment. Take the equipment out and then take the soldiers.
That's literally not how that works. Like, even I know that. Like, I wasn't the president, and I know that you're not. Like, America has never taken out the equipment. That does not happen. They blow it up because the equipment is incredibly expensive to fucking ship back. America has never fucking airlifted their equipment back. What about Blackhawks, though? They can literally fly them back? What? Fly them back to America, dude? What kind of take is this, dude? There are some equipment that I'm sure they fucking fly back. Not fly back to, like, America, but, like, fly to different bases if it's, like, close enough. But do you understand how expensive it would be to, like, fly a Blackhawk helicopter to a fucking base that's outside of Afghanistan?
I said, take the soldiers out, but before you leave, blow up all the forts.
Wait, on the one hand, he shit on the Afghans for not getting paid. On the other hand, he's saying we should blow up the forts? So where are the Afghan security forces supposed to fight out of?
Apparently, a lot of people are on your phone calls. I know everyone wanted to release the Ukraine call. They said what we really need to do is release the calls between President Trump and the head of the Taliban. And maybe while we're at it, we can release some of the calls with President Trump and President Xi, because America might be shocked to hear how strong you were and forceful you were in a lot of these conversations.
Walk, 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 walk.
And then the communist Chinese are saying we need to beg for permission to land in Taiwan. And their propaganda newspaper is suggesting that America won't lift a finger to help our ally Taiwan if, in fact, they have reunification, which we both means they want to take over Taiwan. I don't believe Joe Biden would lift a finger to help Taiwan. Your thoughts on the new aggressive nature of China?
Well, I had a great relationship with President Xi, a really great relationship. We got along great until COVID.
He's about to be like, Taiwan who? I don't know her. Guess what? You mean China? I have a great relationship with President Xi.
Even though I taxed the hell out of him through the tariffs, they weren't happy. But I had a very good relationship. And we met at Mar-a-Lago. And I told him very strongly, do not do anything having to do with Taiwan. Just don't do it. And I said it much stronger than that. I'm not going to say.
Crap. Oh, I didn't realize the United States recognized Taiwan. Since when? That's always the funniest part, when like conservatives try to be like, conservatives will engage in like China posturing. But the reality is that like our neoliberal oligarchs, our elites are, of course, they love China. They do a lot of business with China. The reality is that like, no matter what these guys are, these idiots are saying, it literally doesn't matter. What matters is someone like Michael Bloomberg, who will openly state, based Dengist, ex-New York mayor, ex-Republican, ex-Democrat, Michael Bloomberg. They don't give a fuck about like genuinely agitating against China. They're just using that as like political posturing domestically. They don't like, ultimately, all of our business is still incredibly reliant on China.
The border was one of your big issues, sir. You had put in place the Stay in Mexico policy. You built over 500 miles of border wall. You ended catch and release.
Oh my God. Every time there's like dead air, you just keep hearing the guac, 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 guac over and over again. It's wild that Sean Hannity can consider this anything but a straight suck. It's just like, sir, your cock is large. It's bulbous. It's veiny. It's vascular. It's great. Perfectly shaped. I love it. I love stroking it. I just wanted to tell you, sir, you are the greatest thing that's ever happened. You are my alpha and my omega. Please insert thy cock. It's so good.
We never had a border anywhere like it. And then almost immediately they ended these policies. Catch and release. You catch them and release them into our country. And many of these people are stone cold and very hard convicts and prisoners. They're very tough. I mean, literally.
No, they're not.
They are emptying their jails, and not just the 3 countries, not just...
That's pretty funny because, like, this is literally what the Turks are saying about Afghanistan right now. They're emptying their jails and sending them here. It's like, no, they're not. First of all, why would they empty their jails, you fucking idiot? I mean, the Taliban is a different situation, obviously, but, like, why? Why would a fucking hardened rapist criminal that is leaving the jail be like, all right, I guess I'm going to America now? Like, how do you motivate them to come to America? There's no guarantee that they're going to get in. They would just literally go and do if they're, you know, unstoppable forces of rape and murder, they would just go back and do the rape and murder in their hometowns where it's much easier to do the rape and murder. It makes no fucking sense. You just literally have to ask this question, like why? How? They're opening up their jails? Like, why would any government risk opening up their fucking jails with no guarantee that prisoners that they've opened up from their jails are going to come to America? The possibility of freedom? Bitch, what do you mean? The possibility of freedom is given to them in that literal fucking hypothetical that Trump totally pulled out of his ass. It's called opening up the jails. That's it. That's step 1. There is no step 2. There's no guarantee that you can get into America. So why would you fucking walk all the way to America? You just do crime. If you can't stop doing crime, you just do it in your country. I love leaving the country where they've supposedly abolished prisons and going to the country that has, you know, the highest jailed population, both in totality and per capita.
And we're being set up by very tough people that are very great negotiators. I'll tell you what, they're great, automatically great negotiators. They've been fighting for 1,000 years, and everything about them they negotiate.
Bro, Trump is literally sucked off the Taliban in this interview harder than Sean Hannity has sucked off Donald Trump. Like, he has not stopped sucking off the Taliban. They're so good. Have you seen how hot they are? Some of them, they got great drip. At first I thought, what is that, a dress? I don't understand it. And then I realized, you know what? I would wear that too. You know, I'd have my balls breezing against the wind underneath. They like to wear slides too. I hate wearing shoes. They wear slides all the time. And then they're using American weapons. They look so sexy, so hot. The chiseled abs and the sun-kissed skin, believe me. And then they wear the guy liner. Let me tell you, the guy liner, oh my God, they are so sexy, the Taliban. Best negotiators, sexiest fighters. I mean, our generals, they're like from central casting. But the Taliban, they're so hot. They're hot, hot, hot.
And I've got to ask, because if it was you or your sons, and let's see, what do they have in common? Russia, Hunter Biden got a lot of money. China, they didn't do a deal with Goldman Sachs. They didn't do a deal with Deutsche Bank. They did a deal with Hunter Biden, $1.5 billion, with the Bank of China. If the last name was Trump and your sons were making money in China, Russia, Kazakhstan.
Bro, the only reason why his son-in-law and also his daughter did actually make money in China, but the only reason why the other two incompetent dipshits didn't make money in China is because they suck. And the only reason why his like true son, Jared Kushner, you know, his son-in-law, actually was able to, again, not make money in China is because he was a fucking failure. He literally used his connections in the government to try to sell the 666 Fifth Avenue, whatever shitty ass building to Chinese developers. They routinely actually tried to cut deals with China by using their government access. You know what's funny? I do the same thing that Sean Hannity does, like not the, you know, the sucking of pee-pee, but I do the same thing that Sean Hannity does, where I will also ask a question for like 7.5 minutes whenever I have a guest on. Whenever I do that, I'm just trying to like offer context and like, you know, give additional feedback and information. Sean uses all 5 of those minutes to suck off Trump's pee-pee and then turn around with like the last question where he will just be like, why are you the greatest president that's ever existed in the history of mankind?
Would the question not logically become, do you believe these countries have compromising materials, potentially? The very thing, you know, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials.
I'm sorry, I got to run that back. Yeah, he did an accent. We have to.
Materials. The very thing, you know, remember Adam Schiff, compromising materials. Compromising materials. Compromising materials. Compromising materials. Compromising materials.
Okay, dude. I mean, that's good shit. You motherfuckers really don't deserve me. You know that? A lot of you talk so much shit nonstop. Like, me. Your accents are so bad. Can you imagine if I was doing this kind of Slavophobia? He's supposed to try to make it sound like he's a Slav, and instead he sounds Italian, dude.
The American people now, many are angry about mask mandates, vaccine passports, but none of these restrictions are being applied to people that are not respecting our laws.
Bro, what are you saying? Well, I don't understand. Like, that's not even true. And you can't literally argue on the one hand that there should be no mask mandates or vax mandates and then be like, immigrants need to get vaccinated. You're like, doesn't that literally destroy the argument? Like, they should, by the way. I do agree that immigrants coming into the country should be vaccinated. Okay, absolutely, 100%. I'm totally on board with that. But like, on the one hand, you're like, vaccines don't work. They're scary. Don't do it.
But I got them to approve a great vaccine, 3 of them, in a period of less than 9 months. I was told by Fauci and everybody else it would take 3 to 5 years, and probably 5, and it probably won't even happen. And I got it done in less than 9 months. So I consider it a great achievement. I actually think that if we didn't get it done, worldwide, you would have another Spanish flu, which killed almost 100 million people, according to...
Wait, hold on. So, wait. So COVID was real? Wait, what the fuck? So COVID was deadly. Bro, this motherfucker literally got COVID and was still like, it's actually not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. And now that the vaccines are out, he's like, I made the vaccines. I made them myself, which I have no problem with. I'm glad he's saying this. I will admit. I will admit that this is actually a good ass thing to say. I don't give a fuck if he literally says, like, I spat in every vaccine vial. You know, I put a little piece of my cum in it. Like, whatever gets the stands going to go out and, like, actually fucking get the vaccine, which they won't. They boo him even when he talks about the vaccine.